Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Empower716. We are back with season number 2, episode number 13. I am just so excited to be back. So I got a special guest in the building. You probably know him if you recognize. If you are in Buffalo, let me just say, not even Buffalo, Western New York, you got to know Pharaoh Paige. Welcome to the Empower716.
Appreciate you having me, man. Appreciate you.
So before we get into unpacking about who you are and everything else, I just want to remind those, if you are interested in being a guest on the show, we pretty much are looking for guests, entrepreneurs, business owners, because Empower716 really is a space for entrepreneurs, business owners, career shifters, side hustlers in Western New York who are committed to growing their lives in business. So we need to come as a family, support each other. And so if you are interested in being a guest on the show, this video is going to show you how to do that, and we'll be right back.
We're always looking for entrepreneurs, business owners, side hustlers, and career shifters that are willing to share their life and business experiences, strategies, lessons learned, and pitfalls to avoid with our listeners. If you would like to be considered as a guest on an upcoming episode, email us at empower716@gmail.com and include your contact information along with background information about your business, and share what value you can add to our listeners.
All right, welcome back. So I generally like to start off, the first question I ask every guest is, start off with, obviously you're Pharaoh Paige, but tell me, who is Pharaoh Paige?
Pharaoh Paige is I'm a community person, man. You know, I'm all about family. All about creating that next generation that's able to be better than us and what we've had growing up. Obviously, as an African American, you've had these challenges growing up in our neighborhood. So that's who I am. I'm a person that's all about taking care of the next generation.
Love it, man. So I just want to unpack a few things. I won't be all in your business today, but I like to get an understanding of like your upbringing and kind of find out if you're from Buffalo, and then just kind of walk me through the beginning stages, kind of like how did you get to, where you were, starting off.
So I'm gonna give you the short part, So, I'm born and raised in Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
Went to Kids in high school, went to Buffalo State College. Once I got into the school thing, I got into business early.
Okay.
Growing up, I lived with my grandparents, lived with my mom, lived with uncles, aunts, and stuff like that. So I became an entrepreneur real early because we needed to pay for school clothes, sneakers. You had to be a hustler.
So you had to make that money.
And do it in an alternate way of not just selling drugs, When I was old enough, if it was a paper route, if I needed to mow your grass, shovel your lawn, I was just a hustler. I created opportunities for myself to be able to feed my family,
Now let me stop you real quick. So where do you think that came from? Was it something like did you have other people in your family that was like kind of doing that?
Well, if I hadn't had nothing.
Yeah.
I went to school. I was dressed like a bum. And we didn't have the sneakers. We didn't have the clothes and things like that. So I was just destined, once I had the opportunity to be able to take care of myself, that allowed me to really, become that hustler.
Okay. So now let's take us to the high school years. What high school did you graduate from? Kensington, okay. Yeah. So were you still kind of like doing like the side kind of jobs during high school?
So yeah, that was, so I got into music early. One of the first businesses that I did. So my first job when I was in high school was McDonald's. Worked at McDonald's from 15 to 18. I was a crew chief and everything,
Wow.
And I worked every week, and I was saving up to get this equipment. Every check went to getting this equipment because I was into music. And I opened my studio out of my house. And I remember at the time we were charging $25 an hour back then.
Wow.
And I started generating those monies because I was in my mother's basement at that time, I rented out studio times and stuff like that, and being able to do those things to help her pay the bills and, make sure I, took care of myself personally. So, yeah, started there.
Okay. So then after high school, what was the next stage?
So after high school, so I told you I was into music. So I traveled everywhere. I've been different meetings with different record labels and so forth. I had artists I produced and I rapped myself at that time.
Okay.
I went into college. Parents wanted me to go to college or whatever. And it started off, but I was so much into business and music and everything. I feared away. I stayed away from it. I got it, and I got to, just getting into that process of it. So I left Buff State, ventured off with the music stuff. It looked good, but it ain't make no money. The studio aspect, renting time out. I was a graphic designer at the time, designing flyers, mixtape covers, all those different things like that. Those are the things that kept stuff on the table, being able to feed people. But once I start getting into the music aspect and start noticing that wasn't making money for me, but I was good at business, I start getting into the back scenes of business. Once I started reading, because I'm an avid reader now, you know what I mean? Like, we always talk about being successful, right? What makes us successful? I read a book in The Richest Man in Babylon. They talked about a guy who he made the best chariots of the world, right? And the guy made the best music of the world. And they asked us, they said, why the gods of wealth haven't blessed us? He said, because you perfected making music and I perfected making shields, but we haven't perfected making money. And one of those key things struck, and it was a turning point in my life to start doing research on how the world works, how money works.
Wow.
So I took a veer away from the music and I got more into how we make money, because we can't do none of that stuff without money.
Making money, right, yeah.
So I studied money. How do you make money? How do you keep money? How do you maintain money? And those are the things that catapult me to be successful, because I couldn't take the lane that my peers would take. I think in our community, most of the things we do, once we get some sort of finances, we like to look good. We like to buy certain vehicles,
flashy, be very flashy.
Everything we got, we want to wear it.
Yep.
Even if we're not at that level of success, we want to feel like we're there. And I think a lot of times that's actually what hinders us from being successful is the look good losing. So one of the things I studied is how the Bangladesh or how the Arab Arabs and so forth, how they make their money and how they save and do different things like that so they can build. And I took some of those different cultures and put that into my own personal day-to-day and was able to build quietly. That's why a lot of people, when they start to see certain things of success, and it was like, yo, how did you do that? People try to make an excuse for, what grant did you get? It's not grants, it's hard work, it's hustle, and don't get me wrong, I would love to get the grant. Please, if you can steer me for free money, I would love it. But it's saving, it's hustle, it's sacrifice.
Absolutely.
And our community is so much money that goes through there. We have so much money that we have, and the amount of money that we just throw away, if we actually calculated that on a day-to-day basis, we'll be pretty depressed about it.
I love it, man. So, keep on. You mentioned avid reader, being an avid reader. So, obviously, reading, studying. Now, what was the title of the book again?
Richest Man in Babylon.
Richest Man in Babylon, okay. Yeah. So, now you got out of Buff State, did the education, kind of focus on how to make money. What was some of your starting business ventures? Okay.
So they call me a serial entrepreneur. You name the business, I did it. Obviously the studio was one of the things that was already in place. Being able to move that to a commercial space and expand that and make that, what it was. And then put people underneath that can engineer and I can make money while I'm not there as well. The graphic design stage, when I did the flyers and so forth, I upgraded to the printing process of it. So I got a location for a printing press because people wanted obituaries and these different things like that. So I got into other different fields that would just create and generate cash flow and be able to put people in place to do other things.
Wow.
I got into collections. I owned collection agencies. I got into tax offices. I got into credit. Anything that I felt like would all kind of coincide to what I would do in terms of my business, I studied those things and I was able to use that as a service, provide that as a service for people.
I love it. So you recently you were part of a video that I watched on your Facebook, a part of the national, hopefully I say it right, the National African American Black-owned roller rink.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. I was scrolling for something and I just came across it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty dope. They didn't contact me or anything. They just
so you just put it out there. Right?
I had no idea it was there.
Yep. So you're gonna play that video real quick.
Community. Roller skating may bring to mind grade school birthday parties or Friday night or weekend skate parties with your teenage friends. Then there are those of us who immersed ourselves into the skating culture as adults, who became addicted to the thunder-like sounds of the hundreds of roller skates rhythmically gliding over the smooth floors of the popular roller rink. Whatever the case may be, there is no denying that there is strong connection between Black communities and roller skating, as the rinks have served as both a refuge and a stage for self-expression. The focus of this video is to help shine a light on the handful of Black-owned skating rinks across the nation. We also want to feature the African-American roller skating culture and the gliding stalwarts who are trying to keep it alive. In this exclusive Black Excellence presentation, we will highlight 10 skating rinks around the country with Black owners. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 1. Zone 1 Family Entertainment. After about a year of renovations, the building near Amherst and Main Streets was transformed into the new Zone 1 Family Entertainment Center. Families have a new place to enjoy time together in the city of Buffalo thanks to a new entertainment center. The center offers the community a place to not only enjoy skating, but also laser tag, bumper cars, games, as well as food and snacks. The 20,000 square foot building sat empty for 10 years. Owner Pharaoh Paige says he saw it as the perfect opportunity to offer a safe, fun environment for children and adults right in the city.
So that was a great video. So that's a great accomplishment. So top 10 roller rings around the country that's Black owned. I mean, how does that feel?
That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. I'll give you the story. Zone 1 has been around since 2014.
Okay.
I looked to open a family entertainment center in a number of locations because I started off in the nightclub business. That was one of the other businesses after I got through the other stuff. But after the long hours and so forth, I said, I want to be able to do something that incorporates the nightlife, but also incorporates families, because at that time now I have a 5 and 6 year old, that I want them to be able to go to a place where they're not harassed out in Cheektowaga or different things like that, and they're able to be able to see things that look like them. They're able to see banners and posters and different things like that in their own community, So that's what propelled me to do this Zone 1 Family Entertainment Center. It didn't start out as skating. When I was looking, I wanted to do the laser tag, arcade, bumper cars, that kind of thing. Once I found this location here, it was a former skate rink. As you know, it was Arcadia, Arena, University. Depends on the person's age at that time. Yeah. So I looked to get this space. Now, the space was terrible. It was a warehouse, okay? People thought I was crazy. They say, yo, you don't want to do that. Tear it down. They should tear it down.
Because it was abandoned for like 10 years, right?
It was abandoned for 10 years, and it was in no shape. I'm sure there was a lot of people who tried to get together to do something. You got to be crazy to do it, to be honest with you, because it has so many different challenges. There were challenges that I wasn't aware of. But it's like, you're already here. You know what I mean? You already spent the money.
Too far in.
We got to make it happen. So we actually got that particular Zone 1 because it was what me and a group owns the old Turner Carroll High School, in which we're turning into a mall.
Okay.
In our neighborhood.
Wow.
And we'll talk more about that. But that place wasn't ready, so we needed to find something that had a better option with it. So once we found that location, 2018 November. Took us about 2 years, to get it all together, because it was, I think one of the things I want to help individuals is how to navigate in Buffalo starting businesses, right? Because they're going to let you open a barbershop. They're going to let you open a salon, a steak shop, and those are very great businesses in our community. But the really extensive businesses or larger scale businesses, you go through a lot. And it's not a knock on the city itself, but I want to change the educational point of the average person who wants to start a business. They shouldn't have to go through the things that I've went through to open up that facility. we need a seminar of something or some sort of tool that will allow people of color to understand how to navigate in the city and get business done right away. I spent a lot of money just learning.
Just navigating through.
People not answering my phone. Hey, you got to go to fire. You got to go to police. You got to go to building management. You got to go to water. They just kept telling me steps, but they didn't tell me the whole picture. And I was good. I was fortunate enough to create some relationships within the city of Buffalo to be able to get some of that guidance after I bumped my head so many times.
Wow.
That Zone 1 had about 3 different type of locations we wanted to open. And every time we didn't have something right, they put a sticker on there that says, don't open,
Wow.
So we had to move locations. We tried to find something. I said, wait a minute, you told me to do this. So it's a lot of bumping your head and not knowing exactly what to do. And it can be frustrating for an individual trying to be successful.
And let me ask you this question. So you kind of laid out some of the things, because obviously anybody who is doing business, and especially not just any kind of type of building or whatever, there's a lot of politics you got to go through, and you talk about the relationship. How did you not get discouraged in those moments?
It's how I grew up.
Yeah.
I as I told you, I've grew up through some trying times.
Yeah.
And I had no other choice. So it's just built in me,
Yeah.
I just never give up, never. I don't take no for an answer. I'm gonna tell you, when somebody tells me I can't do something, I'm gonna be there at 9:00 sitting on the steps. And, what I need to do to make it happen? You have to be relentless. You have to be obsessed with success.
No, is that something that you would really encourage those who are inspiring to be a business owner or entrepreneur, that they have to have that push?
You have to have it in you.
Yeah.
Everybody that has become great, whether they're Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady, you name it, they're obsessed with success. It's the small things when people aren't looking is what catapults you to be successful once you're in front of the scenes. I just didn't quit. Research is everything. You just don't. Again, I was ramming in walls trying to just find ways.
Yeah.
But researching. We don't do enough of the work. We don't put enough of the work in because, again, in our community, a lot of our mindset is looking good, losing. We skip the steps because we want to look. We want to get there to that point. So just having that mentality, and that's through reading. It has to almost be spiritually. I tell people I catch the money ghost. You know what I mean? You have to be excited about the future every day, And my guy in Connecticut always told me, he called me Mr. Paige. He said, Mr. Paige, you always keep your hand on the plow. And I didn't know exactly what he meant by that, but he's like, when you're digging, trying to get to your goal, you just got your head down and going. And before you know it, I've had to have moments where I stopped and I looked around and said, wow, look what I built. Because you're not paying attention to it.
Yeah.
You're not paying attention to all the details and different things. All you're doing is this large goal I have to get through, but I'm going to take it step by step, chunk by chunk. And then when you look up, it's there. And people start to notice and they start, hey, how did you get here? So.
Wow. So I want to talk about, I think, so you opened up, was it 2019 you actually opened up?
We opened in 2020.
2020, okay.
October 2020.
So a long process from 2018 to 2020. I want you to kind of talk about the walk, kind of, I guess many people, even business owners, entrepreneurs experience that walk alone, because then when you get to the grand opening day, that feeling of there's some roles, obviously there are people going to say, from 2018, you started off talking about something, and then people kind of I don't think that's going to happen. And then you got to stay in it to win it. And now you got the grand opening. What was that feeling like on 2020?
The grand opening, it was when they approved my license.
Yeah.
I almost cried. I'm a man. I can be sensitive. I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
It's just that when you put so much work in and you've been told no so long.
Yeah.
And you keep knocking on another door and another door and another door, and it finally happens, it's just you believe you can do anything, As we were talking, once you started that process, people have all the opinions in the world.
Yeah.
People, they'll tell you shouldn't do this. Don't do this. You should maybe do that. Because it's their own fear.
Yeah.
Don't project your fear on me.
On me, absolutely.
What you can't do, what you don't feel like doing, or what you're afraid of doing, people don't want to show the mirror. Again, it's a big illusion out here. People want to feel like they're doing something. So if the person next to you is actually doing it, now it puts you under pressure to actually do something. So I always encourage people, stay around positive people.
Yeah.
Believe in what you do after you do the research, and just keep going. So that's what my experience was from that point of just blocking out the negativity and seeing us getting closer to that finish line, and just, you know, had a sigh of relief and say, hey, we're here.
I want to read your skip to the Facebook post that you wrote. I always like to just randomly grab a Facebook post and kind of read it. So I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to get your thoughts. So when they bought all the Jordans and clothes, I worked, sacrificed, invested in my business. When they partied, I lost everything trying to build my business. When these floors needed to be cleaned, the walls needed to be painted, they enjoyed their lives. I'm up because I sacrificed, I put in the work. Don't count the bar, don't count the door, don't count the kitchen, because when I was down, you counted me out. I'm grateful, I remain modest, and I continue to work like the scoreboard is 0.
Yes, indeed.
So let's talk about that. The scoreboard is 0. I love that.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
We hit the restart button, you know?
Yeah.
Because we're on to the next project.
Yeah.
We're building this here. Now we're on to the next project, and we're trying to do the next larger thing after that, and that's the mall project. It's the former Turner Carroll High School building. It's a 90,000 square foot facility. Actually, the city wanted to tear it down at one point, and I'm thankful that we were able to work something out to keep it going. But, you know, you're in the middle of a pandemic. You're trying to put funds together. Again, like we talked, with that sacrifice.
Yeah.
When I wanted to go, when people were going out of town and they were on the beach, and I wanted to be there, you know? And did I have the monies to do that? Yes. But I had to prioritize. I had to invest in my future. The thing is you have to be there for the long haul. I don't care if it takes 5 years or 10 years. I'm going to get to this goal.
Yeah.
There's no shortcut on it, you know? So that was one of the things that was saying, hey, we're done with this point. Let's hit the reset button, because if we start acting like we are there, we're not there. We haven't created generational wealth. We've only done enough to be comfortable. Now let's put ourselves back in an uncomfortable position so we can get to the next level.
Wow.
Because we're not going to keep it. Any money that we amass, we're not going to keep it. But the thing is what are they going to say about me when I'm gone?
Yeah.
Am I going to get my statue? I'm working on my statue.
Now, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, because this probably is twofold, because I noticed, so you decided to open up a business on the east side of Buffalo. Now, some people say, you know what, that's probably, you know, not the best thing, especially you hear like someone who's like Nipsey and I think a few other people, they get back to their community and then they feel like they've been robbed from their own people. Why is it important for you to do the mall project, the one complex in there? Why is that important to be in a community?
It can be depressing on days at times, because your people don't understand the sacrifice, right? And then, you know, you get people talking. You know, you get people talking about you and doing different things like that. Part of it is their own, like I said before, their own individual things. Then people they haven't seen it before. So everyone has an opinion to formulate, and it's okay. Yeah. You have to tell yourself, allow people the opportunity to come back in the circle. Right. Because people make mistakes. People judge you. You know, people, as long as they don't get too disrespectful out of the way, give people the opportunity to come back and understand where you were trying to do. Right. The thing is, what I see in our community is we don't support it, or we don't invest in it or believe in it until the white man does. You know, when you look in that neighborhood, Central Park, right? Now, it's right there at Amherst and Main Street. Right. But back that way has had different activities of violence and so forth. Right? Yeah. So it's very hard for us to say, you know what, that we can have a successful business in that area. But right around the corner, you have a Seminelli project that they've built all these homes. Elam has built all these homes in there. So you start to see the neighborhood start to transform. But that's where gentrification comes in. Right. We don't gentrify our own neighborhoods. Why can't we have our own things look nice? Why can't our stuff look like Amherst and Cheektowaga and different places like that? Why can't the East Side live like that? It's because we have to have pride in our own neighborhood. We're throwing trash on the ground and so forth, and we wonder why they don't want to plow the streets. It's because we don't care about it. We have to have that self-pride and that self-caring in order for us to be successful and build right in that area. That skating rink is cheaper than anything else. If I was in the Target Plaza, anything like that, it allows us to have growth in that facility. So why would I not build it there?
Right.
If you come on our Saturdays and Sundays, you don't see just African Americans there. You see Spanish, you see white, you see Jamaican, you see Chinese. You see different cultures of people coming with families right in that neighborhood. And it says, if you build, they will come.
So I love what you're creating within your building. So talk about the different events. I know you had something on Valentine's Day. You did something for, I think it was daughters and
daddies and daughters.
Daddies and daughters. So talk about why those events are important.
All these things have a cultural thing to it to bring us closer.
Yeah.
Right. I won't say that it's for charity, but it's a bigger picture. Right? It's a bigger picture to bring us all closer together. If I can provide an opportunity for a father who wants to do something with their daughter because that void may be missing, we want to fill that. Let's create something like that. We did silent skate, things that aren't done here and they're done out of town. We want to bring that into that atmosphere. People thought I was crazy when they say, yo, you want to put a bar and skating and jungle gym? The skate community was like, wait a minute, you're going to tear the floor up? I couldn't listen to it. Wow. I had to follow my own unique way to making something happen. Yes, we're going to put the bar and restaurant there for the parent that wants to relax after that hard time and the kids is going to go jungle gym. We're going to make sure they don't get drunk and they kids. But we want to create that. We have to sit and jump in the minds of how families are. If I go to Chuck E. Cheese, I'm just sitting around waiting for my kid jumping around.
Give me something to do.
I can sit there. I can watch some sports. I can have me a drink, watch some sports, a little beer, some food. Why they go run around? So we've created that atmosphere where we can do that. And then on the same side, we flip-flopped it for adults as well. We've uniquely created one space to do multiple things on different days that caters to everyone. That's a unique task, and I'm happy that we was able to succeed in that.
I love it. So talk about, I think you did something last week during the winter break. During the day. So what was that all about?
So everything is all about finding pockets and opportunities, right? Obviously, when kids are off from school, there's nothing to do. Yeah. So we did a winter break, winter recess that would allow us to we can watch a kid up to 4 hours while they go through the jungle gym if you need to run errands and things like that, because it's very difficult, especially when somebody has a winter break and you still got to work or you have to take time off or can't do certain things. We're providing that service and at affordable price. So that was one of the things that we wanted to do, and we did it as a tester, and we'll love to continue to do that.
Wow. How did you do as far as how was business with that?
I think it was decent. It was decent. It wasn't, this big explosion on it. It's new for people. Yeah. So I think a lot of the things that we're doing now is new. So it won't catch on really huge until it comes, because we're planting the seeds for it. One of the things we started on Sundays is called Rolling with the Lord. And we do a Sunday skating buffet, So now we're getting the church community to start slowly come in because they have to trust it, right? If it's a new space and we're talking about food, because black people, they want to make sure the food is right before they pay for something.
For that food,
somebody has to taste it. Somebody has to put a post and say, hey, this is good. So we need to be able to try things and then stick to it and build. We take losses in between that time period, but we know once it's all done, we've created something that's imperishable.
So one of the things I really love as you were talking, a few things I want to point out was the ability to try things, but then also identifying the needs of your community. Like you identify the need with the winter recess. How important for an entrepreneur business owner, especially if they're scaling their business, to gauge the needs of their community and then trying to find a fit within their business.
Right. So you have, in our marketing, we have something that says, okay, this is what's going to make sure we pay the bills, and this is the thing that we have our free reign. Obviously, we know our Sunday nights are huge. We have our college events that we do that are huge. So some of those things are what allows our business to grow, so we can reinvest back into the facility, and then also pay the bills and actually keep people employed. And then that gives us the headroom to kind kind of guess and work things out on certain things that will fit and would not fit for the community.
Okay. So one of the questions I asked that I hear a lot from other entrepreneurs is, now that you've been in operation since 2020, and so how do you, I guess, re-engage your current customers, and then how do you know like you're stepping outside of your niche or your basically your purpose?
Research. See what everybody else is doing in other cities.
Yeah.
They say, hey, well, people down the street is doing this. I can't look at what they're doing.
Right.
Buffalo is behind. You know, we're a slow city. You know, we have to be able to take information and ideas from progressing cities, like your New Yorks, your DCs, your Atlantas, your Houstons, your LAs. You have to be able to take those things, because we're missing out on a huge quality of life for anybody that travels. We want to be able to put those things in place, just like this podcast here.
Mm-hmm.
There in Atlanta, they have so many different opportunities to highlight different groups of people. So taking that step out and being able to provide that opportunity for entrepreneurs, that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Because it's common other places. And that's what allows that community to thrive, because they have so many different network opportunities. So that's the key.
Now, do you find that challenging, because you mentioned like the Atlanta, the Dallas, the Houston, New York City, fast ahead. Now, if you're traveling, you see those things happening and you come back to Buffalo, do you find it challenging? Like, you have these great ideas and want to try it, but it may be too far out where you just might like, okay, they're not ready for this.
Well, see, my mind stays a little different.
Yeah.
I'm okay taking a loss to get you to understand what's going to work. We have to assert ourselves as the leaders.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what we're going to do. Once we prove ourselves to show that our ideas work and we feel good and we spend money and we do things, it makes it easier to keep introducing new things. In the beginning, no, people, they just don't understand. It's a lot of things, a lot of events that we've done, people just didn't understand it.
Yeah.
But the people who did attend it, they were like, wow, that was like, I felt like I wasn't in Buffalo. It spreads the word. And then at some point, when you keep doing it, it becomes that. When it becomes the first, it's always a struggle on something, But we're up for that challenge, because we know at some point, this is what defines us. This is what makes us unique.
I love it, man. So so I know that we skipped over this part as far as you going through different businesses, but you also ran for a political office, I think Fillmore District Council member. Is there any kind of in the goal to ever run for a political office?
Once I got into it, to put it this way, I feel like I'm better served on the other side.
Yeah.
I'm better served doing business and different things in the community. A lot of ideas that I wanted to bring to the community, they were, like you said, they were too far-fetched.
Yeah.
And when you're in an election and somebody wants to get your vote, you don't have enough time. See, at the skating rink, I got all day to get you to, see my vision.
Right.
But when you're running for office, and I'm just point out one of the things I wanted to do. One of my plans was to create non-for-profit grocery stores in the neighborhood, right? When you look at SNAP benefits and so forth, there's millions of dollars that are spread through our community, and it leaves right back out of the community.
Yeah.
If we place these non-for-profit grocery stores in our communities, where you go just do your regular shopping, it's not a charity thing. It's just, hey, I want to get, I'm talking about not like a little small store, like an Aldi's, like a Save-A-Lot, you know what I mean? Like a Wegmans. Those facilities, clean facilities in our neighborhoods on a massive scale, right?
Yeah.
And not only are we employing the people in that community, but the monies that are made from that, we use those monies to now, if you need your roof fixed, if we need your street plowed, if we need if there's potholes, different things like that in our community, we're able to reinvest in what we're already spending to keep it there to build our community back up.
Wow. So you think something like that would have been too progressive?
People didn't. They felt like it was going to take too long.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Because people want to see change right away.
Right now. I don't want to hear about you building the supermarket and it's going to bring money. You know what they say? Well, who's going to control the money? And are they going to? People, they don't want to think about that. They want to think about, hey, there's a pothole on my neighborhood right now, and every time I drive, it's falling in there.
Or it sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So when you start telling these different things, and I was too truthful. You know, I told him, hey, that pothole is going to take a while to fix because this is how the city works. If you got 3 houses on your street, this tax money's not enough to do this. So the people out here who lives in North Buffalo who spend all this money on taxes, they can afford to get their stuff clean because Buffalo's still a business.
Right.
They don't want to hear that. No, I live here too, which they're absolutely right.
Right.
But they don't want to hear that. I was being too truthful to them. I'm not saying lie.
Right.
But in a political world, they say things that there's a thin line, that a gray line that be able to get the vote. Once you're in office, it's not that they can't do the things, but they can't do the things, if you know what I'm saying. You know,
not the freedom that you have in your business right now. Yeah.
But you have to be innovative, right?
Yeah.
If you come and say, hey, our budget for the Common Council is this, right?
Yeah.
Of course you can't do that. Everything that people want to do, you can't do that. So you have to create things to be innovative, like that program that would make their own money to make people self-sufficient. Why would we want to build multiple apartment buildings? We should be able to build homes. If we stick all these people in apartment buildings, they don't own anything. They're not going to pass anything down to anybody.
Yeah.
But if they own a home, if you notice all the black homes in the community, their grass is cut. Homeowners.
Yeah.
Grass is cut. Those neighborhoods is very clean because you have people that have pride. Nobody's going to come breaking in. They're going to call the police.
Yeah.
It's a pride. We're missing that because everybody's renters. They don't care about that property. Most of the people that's renting, I don't own it.
Yeah. I'll be gone next year.
We should be able to push ownership. If you want to keep people out of jail, you want to stop people from robbing people, give them an opportunity. Don't give them money. You know, my mind is already messed up. You know what I mean? If you give me $10,000 from stimulus and all that, I'm going to go buy the Jordans. You know?
Yeah.
But if you give me a home and you show me how to do this, I own something. I got more pride in it. You know what I mean? We have to put more pride in our community.
So before we wrap up, I want you to go back to your project, Eternal Carol. Tell me a little bit more like the purpose of that project. Like give me more some insight.
I
want to
build a business incubator in our community.
Nice.
Right? Every time somebody has one of these old school buildings, what's the first thing they want to do?
Tear it down.
Apartments.
Yeah, that's true.
What are you going to do out of it? What are you going to make out of it? Apartments.
Affordable housing.
No. Affordable housing. No. That means you don't own it. You are another slave. You're a slave to that particular situation. Now, could I make a lot of money just converting that to apartments? Yes. Personally, yes. But those people who live there don't own it. And more than likely, they're going to tear it up if they don't have pride in it, if they don't own something. So we wanted to create a business incubator. We called it an essential mall, right? So this project is you're going to be able to have a medical complex part of it. You're going to have your primary care, your dialysis, your physical therapy, your mental health, your blood lab, all in one area. So when you see your primary care doctor and you need to go get blood samples, you're going down the hall. You need x-rays, you're going down the hall. You need your dental work going down the hall. All these different things so people don't have to travel. So that allows us to be much healthier. How many times do we need to get blood labs to say, oh, we'll get it, and just never get it done?
Yeah.
Or if we need our medicine, there should be a pharmacy built in that facility. Those are the things that we need to invest in to make sure that we're healthy and not just a bunch of pills, but holistic things that would allow us to work. Investing in mental health in our society,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
So that's one component. Another thing we wanted to put in there is daycare, laundromat, hair salon, nail salon, barbershop, all those different things in one area so you're able to have that big business incubator on top of your clothing stores and your sneaker stores and stuff like that. We wanted to do a shared kitchen where there are multiple stoves, and then there's like kiosks where people, like if you go into a food court setting and people can go up to that particular counter and order that type of food that they want while people are on the other side preparing that. Allowing entrepreneurs to rent the kitchen out. They don't have to go through getting all these extra licenses and equipment and so forth. It allows them to do that. We want to open another piece of it where the marijuana aspect of it is. Not so much just on the growing side, but people who want to get into that business start thinking about other parts of it. There are people who who need lights for it, people who need the actual containers. There's different parts of business. We have to open our minds up to different parts of business to get to that goal before others do. So not only that, I just wanted that big business incubator where people can go and be able to start their business the right way. We want to put entrepreneurs in a program where we get them through the process to get their credit and everything done for their business so they can afford their rent for at least a year. And all their equipment and everything looks new, and their signs look like LED signs. So when they go walk into that place, it looks like something that you would see out in East Amherst. You know what I mean? We should be able to leverage different things that this country provides in order for us to get ahead just like everybody else.
Wow. So where do you get that? So, man, that would, man, you just, man, blew me away. Man, that's dope. That is really dope because I think our community, one, needs it. And I think I just want to ask you the vision. So how do you isolate yourself to even allow, I wouldn't say allow, but to get that type of vision? Because like that mindset, you have to separate yourself in order to kind of get there. So where is all this, like, you get this drive to like think outside the box?
So here's the thing. I don't want to downplay my intelligence.
Yeah.
I think I'm an intelligent individual. But what I'm talking about is being done all over the country in progressive cities where black people are. We're not reinventing the wheel. If you go to Atlanta, they have things like that. You know, it's just, in our area, we just don't have it,
Right.
So it's not like that. It's like this big, brilliant thing, but it's taking ideas and different stuff from other places and being able to make our city more progressive and to be able to move our culture. If I'm making money, you making money, we don't have too much differences. But if I'm riding around clean and you ain't riding around clean, we're going to have a problem. It's just a natural jealousy or natural envy that comes in our body based on how we've grown up and the things that we've been through. We've been traumatized, whether it's been police. There's a number of things that has affected us as a community growing up. So we need to be able to kind of reverse those things by making ourselves feel good about accomplishments. And it starts with small steps at a time. So when we talk about that project there, you have to get points on the board. You'll be able to, look, we started this, just a small brief of how we're going to do that facility. This is a 90,000 square foot facility, right? You're going to need at least $5 million to get this place up and running the whole entire way.
Right.
But we're doing it in phases. We're doing it in phases where, okay, we got the outside looking good, all the glass is new on there. We got our signs up, our hallways are looking really good, and we got some of our stores actually built in there. And then the next person want to come, and we build the next one and the next one. So where the whole project doesn't have to be overall complete, but we've done enough to start progressing. And we start getting people in there and start getting things to work. And before you know it, we look up, it's complete.
It's complete.
Our
So
hand
take
on the
it in phases. Take it in phases. So my other question for you would be is balance. How do you balance family life, personal life, business, all the other stuff?
I do not have balance. That's what I'm working on. Okay, that's what I'm working on. And my significant other has been very helpful in that process. Actually, just no for an answer. They say you're not going to go here. You're going to do this. We're going to do that. You're going to take time out and do things. Those are so important. You get so obsessed with success, you do miss out on some of the things that is required for your family, such as your kids. Because sometimes you be thinking like, okay, they'll make sure they'll be all right after they see us, but they need that time. Your family needs that time, and you need that time for yourself as well, because you have to do things for yourself to make yourself feel good.
Absolutely.
I just stopped buying things for myself. I would buy nothing. I mean, I had a beat up F-150 truck that I drove forever. My significant other just bought me a nice truck for Christmas. But we have to do things to feel good for ourselves as well on top of that. That's another part of the book that I didn't take because I was so infatuated with other parts. You still have to have small celebrations, small things to feel good. And that allows you to keep going through those times where you may have, I wouldn't say depression, but low points, because you're up against a giant. You're up against doing things that nobody has done before in your area. So you're going to get all the critics. I had an inspector tell me in the city of Buffalo, he said, this was years ago, he said, why don't you just take this money and just go take your wife on a vacation? Because every time I came, I applied for a permit or something, and you don't get the money back, Denied. deny. We're not going to, can't do this, do that. So many times and so many efforts and so much money was lost in that process. And I was like, I'm back again. Now when I go to City Hall, it's like, hey, I'm here, you know?
Not to cut you, I want to make one point. Now, do you think it's necessary? I think when people get into business, is you have to be ready to lose some money.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to be ready to lose.
And just suck it up and just say, you know what?
It's part of the process. Yeah. Because guess what? Money has a way of finding something, right? Whenever people get inheritance, they win a lottery, they get income tax, the money is going somewhere, okay? You have to choose where the money's going to go. Yeah.
Wow. So finish what you were saying about the balance. Continue on that project.
So back on the balance aspect, being able to do things to make yourself feel good so you can get that recess. Last year, I took a lot of trips, you know, but it felt good. It gave me that, okay, I'm back. I'm going back to war again, you know? It's like you coming back in Buffalo and you see the clouds and like, okay, we ready to fight again, you know? And that's one of the key things is being able to do those things to make us feel good, to keep us fighting, and just to show, hey, you know what? This is part of your accomplishment. You can keep going. Yeah. You know? Let's keep feeling good like this again. You know, so.
And before we give advice for those future business owners or current business owners, I want you to, because you mentioned one thing about our community, being African American man, or even just African American in general, we have the culture set is better to look good, look the part, look like you're making money, look like if you're driving the Lexus, you know, all of the flashiness. You talked about the car you drove, finally got a newer vehicle. What, I guess, how do you get somebody to change that? Like, how do you change a culture of understanding where it's better to put our money, investments, and other things versus the flashiness? Like, there's got to be a point where you're like, okay, maybe I have to just fall back from the Jordans this week. And
I think the thing is you have to be consumed with the information.
Yeah.
Right? I told you I had a point when I was reading. It gave me a moment to say, I had it wrong the whole time. Mm. There's so much information that we've learned growing up that's been wrong.
Yeah.
We have to flush it out. There's a part in the book that I read, Automatic Millionaire, right? Mm-hmm. It talked about when they were, every time they had this Christmas party, it was some kind of holiday or something, their grandmother would cut one end of the ham and the other end of the ham and put it in there. So every year, the wife now cuts one end of the ham and cuts the other end of the ham. Yeah. And they asked him one day, say, yo, why do you cut both ends of this ham here like this? He said, well, it's been a tradition in our family for years. So they went and asked the grandmother and said, why do you cut it? He said, because I couldn't fit it in the pot. So there's things that we do.
Just keep doing it just because somebody else has done it. Yeah.
We have to get a lot of this bad information out. All these beliefs. Don't jump over the broom. Don't sweep. All these things that are in our head, we have to clear it out and put new information in. Information that's the truth, right? When we look at all these big organizations, a lot of these big companies, like I'll give you an example, like a Dave & Buster's or something, right?
Yeah.
It's all off of credit. They're not. Somebody is giving them money to run their business. The CEO is getting a salary off of hope that it's going to work.
Yeah.
Because they've built up some sort of resume to that point, you know? Now, I did it the hard way, but as I started to learn, say, oh, wait a minute, this is the way. This is the way of us being able to get to a certain point, being able to leverage credit, and now I'm getting into the grant aspect, leverage grants and those different things like that, because those are the things I didn't think about. I was discouraged about grants. I'm like, you know, they're going to deny me. I don't have time for that. I got to open this tomorrow. But new ways of thinking, I'm still, to this day, I'm learning and being able to say, okay, you know what, let's try this. We have a proven history of other people doing these different things like that. So I think that's what ultimately allows us to progress. You know?
So what was one thing you would say to your younger self, maybe 10 years ago?
Something I would say to my younger self 10 years ago. Get out of Buffalo.
Run.
You get obsessed with it though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, I would have been a multi-millionaire if I wasn't in Buffalo.
Wow.
You know? I love the city though. You know, you get so obsessed with changing it. You know, it's like, yo, no, it's not. This isn't right. You know, we shouldn't live like this. Why are we living like this? Right? If you look at the homes, the value of the homes here, they, excuse my French, they look like shit compared to price. That's a third of the price you're getting like a mansion somewhere in Houston for. Yeah, it's just like, yo, is this fair?
This is not right.
So you want to try to change these things. Yeah. Sometimes it's an uphill battle with it, you know. But everybody, whenever you try to do something different or something against the status quo, people will be afraid of it. People don't want it to work because they want to say, I told you so. Yeah. They've whispered about it. They've talked to other people. And when it starts to work, they look bad. Yeah. So they're praying, please, don't be successful because I'm going to look like a fool. When you look at everything, I hate to bring up a Kanye West. He's a genius. Yeah. But they think he's super crazy for the things they've done. But he's been able to amass a certain amount of wealth and do things based on his beliefs and his understanding and so forth. So it's a two-part fold. If you're young, to anybody that wants to be successful, you have to do the research. Understand how the world works. We don't know how the world works. We don't know how this building, how did this person get this here, right? In my phone, I have, years ago, I ended up talking to this guy. He owned a property, and I seen he owned multiple properties. And I just called him. He was trying to sell one of his properties, and I called him, and I just called him to ask him for information, right? Yeah. If you look at my phone, it says,
rich guy with knowledge.
I didn't know his name, you know, but I picked his brain, and he gave me valuable information. So be a student, be a sponge. Learn how something works. If you're a mechanic, you know how something works. You can hear a certain sound and say, you know what, that's going to be a timing change. Yeah. You know?
Now, do you think that's part of your upbringing of at least having humility? Because I think that's a big piece of it. Because to reach out to somebody that you don't know and ask them for information means that you need something from them that you have to, you know, I think it's a process of having humility. And a lot of people may not feel like, you know what, I know this, you know, I'm, even if at your stage right now, you may feel like, hey, I got a business. I don't need help. I don't need anybody information. But you always be in the process to learn.
I don't care how successful I get. Yeah. You always need help. You always need information. You always need to learn something from somebody. And the right people, right? Yeah. I can't, just like the richest man in Babylon, I can't go to someone who lays bricks to tell me about jewels. I can go to you about bricks. Yep. You don't sell jewelry. So we have to get advice from the people who's actively done it or who has had that experience. Otherwise, we're failing. I can't talk to a single person about a marriage unless they've already been married before and they've been through, you know. You can't give me no advice because you're only looking at your lens. You're going to give me the worst advice in the world.
So I really do appreciate you coming on, but I want to just end this more or less like what maybe some 2 or 3 things you would give to, if you were given a class, real quick class, and you said these are the 2 or 3 things I would tell anybody who is interested of starting their own business but haven't. What would you tell them?
I would say read these 3 books.
Okay.
Richest Man in Babylon, Automatic Millionaire, and Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I would tell them read those 3 books, okay, right? And read them over and over and over, right? Get consumed about how people make money. Because we might have an idea about a business, right? But if we don't know how the business is going to really make money, we're already losing. I can say, hey, go get your business license, go get your insurance, go get this, go this. If you don't know how it makes money, you're going to lose. If I started a clothing company, and you can sell it out your trunk and do so forth, right? But if I started a clothing company tomorrow, I can beat that person that's had the clothing company for years because I'm doing the research. Yeah. If I know, in order for me to be successful, I need distribution or Well, if you got an online store, that works.
Yeah.
There's different things that allows you to skip ahead a lot faster based on the research. If I put a smiley face on a T-shirt, nobody's got the smiley face, and I convinced the person in Walmart in the distribution to take 10,000 orders of that, I've created distribution. So do the research on figuring out how to get to that goal. That's it.
That's it, man.
That would be that. If I would say, read those books. Block yourself out from people who do not know about that business, right? And then don't celebrate early. Keep your head on the plow and keep going. Don't celebrate early. Because there's always another, reset the scoreboard. There's always the next level to get to. If I didn't land a private jet out here coming to this podcast, I ain't where I want to be at.
Right.
Because the world offers so much. When people say, oh, money isn't everything, money is everything. Yeah. And I say it in this sense. You can't do certain things without it.
Right.
Why can't I have what the world has to offer? So you mean to tell me we breathe the same air, right? But because you were born over here, you are entitled to all the what life has to offer? And I'm not saying just have helicopters and all that stuff like that, but the ability to go on vacation, the ability to have a nice car, the ability to have a nice house, to have things that make you feel good after you've accomplished your goals.
Yeah.
It might have took that person to wake up and be born into it to get it. And it may take you 10 years, 15 years, but you have the opportunity if you want it. Don't just give up and accept life. No, that's not life. Life is not waking up like this.
Absolutely.
I want everything that life has to offer, and you're going to give it to me. I'm not going to stop. If I got to ask this person, if I got to travel here, I'm going to go there. I don't care about not looking. I don't care about looking bad, because I know at the end of the day, when I finish my goal, it's a different conversation you're going to have than you had that year before.
Yeah. So now that, I mean, obviously you have achieved some level of success, and that's obviously subjective to other, what you consider success. But how do you keep, and I know you probably touched upon this a little bit, but far as like your own hype, like you got the business, but now once people see that you got establishments, you got projects coming around, how do you still remain too accessible to the people that even when you're growing up, whether, your upbringing and so forth, how do you keep that balance of making sure you are isolated from toxicity, but then also being approachable to people?
You still have to be relatable, right?
Yeah.
Everybody works.
Yeah.
Everybody gets tired. Everybody has feelings, right? And that humility, like you said, to be able to be approachable, be able to talk to people. But people like, hey, man, what's going on? Just working, man, trying to get to the goal.
Yeah.
When people feel like you still going, and you're still trying to accomplish, and you're still trying to work, and you still have that community piece, because people love that you want to do things to empower. That's why there's so many charity things people do, because they want to do things to make people feel good. They feel good when other people feel good. And when people know that you don't care just about you and you care about others, that allows people to still want to root for you to win. I remember my election, right?
Yeah.
I dressed up I never really wore suits all like that, right? But I'm thinking, okay, I'm running for office. I put these 3-piece suits on and everything, and clean face and everything. And the people who were in my community, they didn't see themselves in me. They seen this person who they thought was like Richie Rich, right? It looked so great, but it wasn't. If you gave them who you are in terms of, all my principles went out the building because I'm thinking, okay, politics, I got to get sharp and I'm going to get this vote. If you gave those people exactly who you are and how you grew up and how it was, that allows them to relate to you more. And that's how you can capture their votes in that term period. Would I ever try it again? I'm not sure. If I'm going for mayor or something like that, maybe. Yeah. But I think I'm better suited building things on the outside and being able to impact culture. And that's what allows people to be able to stay in that same lane and still respect you.
Wow. Man, I absolutely appreciate you taking the time out to give us a lot of good information. It's always good to again, just pick a, an entrepreneur, business owner mindset, how they sacrifice certain things to get to where they are. Because, again, people just see maybe the building, they may see the project, but don't know what you have to sacrifice. And I love the fact, as I was like kind of studying, again, your Facebook page, obviously social media, and just seeing your sacrifice, you putting the pictures up of not just the flashiness, the work where you got to do the floors, and you show the process over the years. I mean, I went back a couple of years back, and you're showing the pictures and different permits and everything else, and so showing the process. And I think that's really what we need to see, because I think some people look at, I want success, and so I got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's not working like that. You really have to take the time, and the fact that it was years for you to see that come to life, and you stuck into it. And so having you be about the community is so important. So definitely appreciate you. I know I'm speaking for many people in Western New York, that we appreciate your passion, your love for the community and what you're doing and what you're going to continue to do. So kudos to you, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
So make sure if you're watching this on replay, make sure you go back to those points that Pharaoh mentioned. I'm going to just talk about next week, our next show, or next week we have Adri V, the Go-Getter. She's going to be up next week. So we're going to pick her brain about she's an educator, media personality, podcast host, speaker, and all that. She's been doing some great things over the years, so we're going to get to sit down with her. So make sure you lock in next week. Another thing I want to mention is about our Young Entrepreneurs of the Month. Last season, we were able to honor 3 young people under the ages of 21. We were able to give them a scholarship to help inspire them, encourage them to basically continue their dreams and their drive to pursue their goals. And so if you want to recommend an entrepreneur under the ages of 21 or under, we're going to watch a short video. Until next week, peace.
Hey, what's up, Western New York? Did you know that Empower716 Talk Show is looking to promote and recognize young entrepreneurs in Western New York? You could recommend yourself or someone else to be acknowledged on a future episode. Nominees need to be age 21 or under, has a service or product that offers value, has taken steps to become an entrepreneur, and must be willing to come on the show and talk about their service or product if selected. Email us at empower716@gmail.com.